what is your opinion on ad-libs in a song?
I have my own ad-libs that I've always had. Some fans complain about it, cha. Some fans think I say cha because of the way it sounds, cha. But I try to tell them that when I do it, it's like the word yeah, but the Y doesn't have an attack. So you put the CH on it, ja, instead of yeah. Just like Michael Jackson says, come on, instead of come on. Because come on can have an attack, but come on is even harder, you know what I'm saying? Come on, Lee.
Now, when it comes to your ad-libs, do you have a strategy when you implement them in your music?
I do have a strategy where I put my ad-libs, usually where I take a breath. Yes.
And when it comes to your signature ad-lib, you pre-answered this question already with the previous description there, but aside from this ad-lib, are there any other signature ad-libs of yours or main ad-libs you
Totally,
use?
totally. Yes, there are more than one ad lib. Yeah is not the only one, but every once in a while you might hear my grunt. You know what I'm saying? And it depends on the energy of the song. It might get really like, you know what I'm saying? A lot more energy. But, you know, every once in a while you might hear real quick, you know, yeah, you know what I mean? So. I
Now,
remember back in '02 when I came out with, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Back in '02 on Absolute Power, I had one back then that I stopped doing. It was like, huh, you remember that? Huh, I don't do it no more, man, you know what I'm saying? But I might bring it back.
why'd you discontinue that one?
I don't know why I discontinued it, but yeah, just took over and, you know, but huh, I think James Brown already wore it in the ground, you know what I'm saying?
Now, aside from James Brown and that particular ad-lib, when it comes to these other two ad-libs that you mentioned, were you the first recording artist to ever do these ad-libs?
I think the way I do it, because when you think of MC8, he'll be like, yeah, with a J. Or Young Jeezy go, yeah, it's closer to mine, you know what I'm saying? But I was doing it way before Young Jeezy, but he don't go, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But his is closer than MC8's, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think mine is unique. I think that it's, well, maybe it's unique to me, the way I do it, you know what I mean? As opposed to Jeezy or MC8.
Now, have you and Jeezy ever had a discussion of this particular ad-lib? Have fans ever said anything to either of you two in regards to that particular ad-lib there?
I don't, nah, me and Jeezy never have a conversation. The last time I saw Jeezy, he was in Kansas City, and it was back when I was drinking. We had a toast. Me and my wife had a toast with him. Patron, I think it was, or some type of tequila backstage after he was celebrating his show that he had just did. And I think because of the differences in voice that our ad-libs don't sound anything alike. So it wouldn't be a discussion.
And were you doing this ad-lib, just for historical reference, were you doing this ad-lib here before you noticed MC8's ad-lib, or was he already doing that prior to you, just for
Yeah,
clarification?
I think, I know MC8 was the first one that took the word yeah and put a J on it, yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was smooth. But I wasn't even thinking about MC8 when I think of this power burst in me, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It sounded nothing like yeah, you know what I'm saying? But even Ritz goes yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a way to say yeah, and we all adopted it. Not knowing where I adopted it from. I didn't take it from 8, surely didn't take it from Jeezy, and surely didn't take it from Ritz. You know, never heard it before, so.
Now, when it comes to collaborating with other recording artists, have you ever added your ad-libs to another artist's verse on the same song?
Yes, I have. I have added my ad-libs to a song with Chris Calico, to other artists as well, you know what I mean? It's a Tech N9ne signature, so that's how you know that I'm there. if I'm backstage before one of my shows and I go, they'll all scream. Or if I'm backstage and I go, cheer, they'll all scream because they know that's me. They know I'm in the house.
Now, aside from just merely an introduction, are you ever collaborating with others and your ad libs are sprinkled throughout their verse?
I've done that before as well too. I've sprinkled my ad libs through other MCs' verses. I think Token just took some of my ad libs in the song we just did called Peter and put my chairs in between some of his lyrics. So yeah, man.
Now, in that particular instance, it sounds like that was his own doing. But what about in previous collaborations with you and other recording artists? Is that something that's talked about? Like, do they ask you, hey, can you put your ad libs and lay it on this song? Is that something you voluntarily do in the past? How does that actually?
They do not. They do not ask for my ad libs. They ask for Tech Nine, period, and that comes with Tech Nine. You know what I'm sizzling? So I don't think I've ever heard an artist say, "Hey man, make sure you do those chairs in there and those grunts." You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever heard that. That's something that I do on impulse.
And what about this last topic here in regards to ad libs? What are your thoughts on songs with another artist's ad libs, but no hook or verse from them on that song? It's just their ad libs sprinkled throughout.
From another artist.
I'll give you an example if you need me to break it down a little bit
All right,
further.
break it down, yes.
Okay, Kanye West has a song called Can't Tell Me Nothing. Jeezy ad libs,
Yeah.
but no hook or verse from
Yeah.
Jeezy on that song.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on songs like that? And that's not the only song out
there.
there.
That was dope as hell. I'd never heard it before. You know what I mean? An artist use another. Jeezy is not even on the song, rapping or anything, but to have his ad libs in there was, wow. You know what I'm saying? It was beautiful. I'd never heard it before, and I haven't heard it since.
There are some other examples I'll provide just in case those in the audience might not be familiar either. Childish Gambino has a song called This Is America. Young Thug ad-libs, but no hook or verse from Thug on that song. Lil Yachty has a song called Who Want the Smoke. Block Boy JB ad-libs, but no hook or verse from Block Boy on that song.
But if you don't know who Block Boy JB is and you're from Kansas City, how would you know that those are his ad-libs? As a matter of fact, I know This Is America by Childish Gambino, never heard Young Thug in it. Maybe I'm not listening for it. But if you're here in Atlanta and you're tied into all the culture, you might know more than somebody else.
And I'll give you one more. Easier example here. The Carters, that's Jay-Z and Beyonce. They have a song called Ape Shit, Migos ad-libs, but no hook or verse from the Migos on that song.
That's dope. That's dope. I had never heard it since Kanye, but nice ear you have.
Now, anything else on the subject of ad-libs here before we wrap up and dive into another topic with you?
Nah, that was a lot on ad-libs.
Now, what about this, okay? One more topic here before we dive into the brand new album of yours, and that's when it comes to your past collection of music, okay?
Okay.
When it comes to accolades and achievements of your songs in the past, how far have they gotten for you so far?
Accolades, you mean?
Yes, gold records, platinum records,
Oh my God.
awards like Grammys,
Oh my
American
God.
Music, things
Oh
of
my
that
God.
nature. How far have they gotten for you?
I have tons of platinum and gold plaques. I have an MTV award for Left Field award. I got so many awards, man. I have the proclamation from the mayor of Kansas City, man. I got so many awards that we have to start keeping them up at Strange Music at my headquarters, you know what I mean? And as far as platinum and gold plaques, I got 8 more coming that are newer plaques, man. So, and I don't have any more room on my walls at home. So I might have to start giving them to my relatives. They've gotten far and they're still going, you know? And I think this one we're gonna drop next Friday with Lil Wayne, man, is probably gonna give us another one.
And share the title of that for those in the audience for reference there as well.
That song is called Yoda because I'm a Jedi lyrically.
Now, before we dive into that album, when it comes to these gold and platinum songs of yours, personally notated here, 5 of each for you, okay? But zooming out, okay, what's the secret to creating a platinum song?
I think the secret to creating a platinum song is not trying to create a platinum song. You know, when I wrote Fragile, I was upset. Then I got Kendrick on it. But the hook from Kendall Morgan and the singing from Mayday, when I first heard it before any lyrics was on it, reminded me of something massive. Never thought that it would go platinum. I wasn't tripping on that. Hood Go Crazy, when I heard B.O.B. send me the beat and that hook on it, this type of shit to make the hood go crazy, it made me want to dance because I'm an old school B-boy slash Kid and Play slash MC Hammer slash flat top with the Kwame streak, you know, dancer, you know what I mean? So when I heard it, we got 2 Chainz on it, it automatically turns into hit material, but you have no idea who's gonna connect with it. So in my opinion, you got other hit makers that have a formula that they feel that can create a platinum record. But I do not do music like that. I do music I feel. And when it goes platinum, that's why we have so many platinum and gold plaques that are songs like Caribou Lou with no video or radio, Dysfunctional, no video or radio, Worldwide Choppers, platinum, no video or radio. That lets you know that I'm not trying to create a platinum song or single. I'm just doing beautiful music. Now, others may do different because I know producers that say, hey, we got the formula, we've seen it work with so-and-so, 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 let us help you. Okay, that's cool, but in the interim, you know, I'm gonna do what I feel, and if the people feel it, that's a blessing.
When it comes to, once again, awards and accolades and things of that nature, is there anything that's been eluding you? Has there been something that you've been chasing? Is there a list of some sort of something that you just, a notch under your belt you've always wanted, haven't had yet?
Oh yeah, man, I don't feel content, I don't feel complacent, I don't feel satisfied, even 25 years of Strange, 40 years for me in hip hop. Because I haven't tread every part of this earth yet. I haven't been to Africa, haven't been in Japan, haven't been to China. I ain't been to Dubai. I've been to a lot of places. I even been to Kuwait, you know what I'm saying, and done shows at the USO tour. I've been to Australia and New Zealand constantly. I've been to Russia and sold it out, you know what I'm saying? Yes, you know what I'm saying? Moscow, yes, boom, 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 boom. A lot of places I haven't tread yet, or a lot of people I haven't infected yet. So that's a notch on my belt that I'm still reaching for, and I will get it. Global domination.
Can you explain to the audience everything they need to know about 5816 Forest?
Yes, I can. 5816 Forest. I call it my audio series with 17 episodes about my life on 5816 Forest, that block from age 12 to age 17 when I ran away on a quest to become Tech-9.
Now, do you consider this body of work an album or a mixtape?
I consider this an album. This is album number 26, if I'm not mistaken, 25 or 26. I lose count, they're all my babies. This is indeed an album, a Tech-9 LP. I've only done one mixtape in my whole discography, and that's with DJ Who Kid.
And for those in the audience who are not familiar, is there a difference between an album and a mixtape in 2025?
In my opinion, there's a difference between an album and a mixtape. It depends on what the beats are for that mixtape. Are there other people's beats? Or are there beats from off of social media? You know what I mean? You know, albums, to me, and the way I do it, we purchase beats for that album. You know what I mean? And from producers. And the album has a lot more structure, in my opinion.
And the title of that mixtape with DJ Who Kid Once Upon a Time, care to share that for reference as well, for those in the audience that want to listen to that if they haven't yet?
The mixtape, the only mixtape in my whole discography with DJ Who Kid is called Bad Season.
Now, when it comes to this album here, you've already explained the title and its meaning, but was this something that you came up with just for a little bit more detail or someone coined for you?
I did not come up with this idea. I came up with the title, but it was brought to me by an old friend by the name of Black Walt. Black Walt went to school with me in middle school. He gave me the name N9ne in 1988, you know what I mean? And last year he called me and said, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You need to do a album where it's just all you on the verses. We get tired of hearing all your collaborations. We just want to hear you. I said, that's boring as fuck. And I took it to my partner the next day and said, Black Walt said I should do all verses myself. I think that's boring as fuck. Travis said, he's right. That's what we want to hear. That's what the fans want to hear. Once I got to writing, I came up with the title. I want to call it 5816 Forest. I want to tell all the stories in chronological order from 12 years old to 17-year-old, all the song, all the stories in between that time period. And as I got 3 songs into writing, I was like, wow, this is amazing. It is not boring as fuck. I found resolve in some songs. A beautiful experience writing this album.
Now, when it comes to the phrase writing, do you ever freestyle and punch in?
Do I ever freestyle what?
Do you ever freestyle and punch in when it comes to recording, or is it strictly just writing for you?
I feel like freestyling and punching in is something the newer kids do, man. You know what I'm sizzling? For what I do, I'm a writer. You know what I'm sizzling? I don't take nothing away from anybody, but I don't burn up time in studio. I own my own studio, and I get in there. When I'm writing, it comes out as a freestyle while I'm at home writing or in my office writing, and then I write it down in 4-bar segments, then I record it to the beat on my dictaphone recorder, listen to it a few times, make sure it works, and then I move on. By the time I get in the studio, I've already rehearsed the rhyme. I hang the rhyme up. I'm reading it as I'm bussing. I have a way different way of creating and recording. I cannot even fathom with my style, with one of my styles, with any of my styles, going in and just doing line for line. I don't take it away from nobody, but I ain't about to be in the studio for 10 hours. When I'm in the studio, if it's 3 verses, I'm probably in there for like 45 minutes. If it's a verse, I'm in there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You know what I'm sizzling? So I come prepared at a studio session. Or if I'm in there with another artist and we happen to be writing in the studio, which I haven't done in a long time, I've done it, you know, I'll still be in there for like 20 minutes. So, nah, I don't do that. I don't go in there and hit this line, punch me in, let me get another line. No, 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 no. Especially when I'm telling a story. No, 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 no. Now, I've seen Wayne do some stuff that I ain't never seen nobody do. I've heard Jay-Z does some stuff that I ain't never seen nobody do. I heard E40 does some stuff that I ain't never seen. But me, meticulous with mine, nah, I can't do that.
And when it comes to your history in music, you were a writer from the jump.
Yes, sir. I was a writer from the jump. From my first rhyme in 1985 in 7th grade, I wrote that first 8 bars and went back and busted the next day.
And did that ever get recorded?
No, it did not get recorded. It was presented to me as a dare because I was a beatbox. You know what I'm saying? I was a beatboxer. So a girl named Lola said, stop spitting on everybody, Aaron, and write a rhyme yourself. I'm like, I've never done that, but I'm a fan of hip hop. I think I know how to do it. Came back, killed everything. You know what I mean? I ain't stopped writing since.
Now, you mentioned in this description here of writing that this is something, sounds like you do at home. It could be a studio in your home or an office in your home, but it sounds
Mhm.
like this is conducted at your home.
Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, I'm at home. Most of the time I'm in my office or up in the studio, in Studio A with my engineer Ben. We call him Bengineer. Sometimes I'm sitting out in the kitchen, coming up, finishing the rhyme that I might have started at home. You know what I mean? But I bounce back and forth.
Okay, so the studio.
My office is in my studio.
Okay, and that's separate away from the home.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Because was gonna ask when you're at home, if you're ever writing, wondered if that was ever a distraction for you, being at a home setting and conducting that.
Now it is because I have a toddler, and she ain't trying to let me write nothing. You know what I'm saying? She's grabbing my pen, scribbling on my paper, and I just got to let her. You know what I'm sizzling? But before then, I would write a lot at home, like my verse to Face Off with The Rock and King ISO and Joey Cool. I wrote on my couch at home, you know, my verse to a song called Outdone that I did. I wrote on my couch, you know, but sometimes I write on the tour bus. Sometimes I write in the studio in Moscow, you know what I'm saying? If I'm out there doing shows, you know what I mean? I can write anywhere, but I love to be at home or in my studio or in my office. I like to be solitary, but I don't like to feel closed in. I like to think outward, you know what I mean? Things be on the wall that can inspire me all around me. I can't be closed in.
Now, what about the artwork for this album? Can you explain the concept behind that?
I wanted this album cover for 5816 Forest to be me now wearing things that I couldn't afford back then, that I saw the D-boys and rappers wear, like LL Cool J, like Eric B. and Rakim, you know what I'm sizzling, like Run DMC. But in this case, it's more LL Cool J with the red and white troop jacket, velour or suede, whatever it is, with my black Levi's jeans and my red and white Jordan 3s and my black and red KC hat flipped up, all my strange music chains looking like the D-boys did back then. I wanted to bring that to now. Couldn't afford it then, now I can afford it all. Here's me in all my splendor.
And what about this home behind you in the artwork? Was that actually 5816 Forest?
The home behind me is actually the house that we lived in from 12 to 17 when my mom, Marty Suyates Khalifa, married a Muslim, Abul Hassan Rasul Khalifa, and he moved us into that house. Those people that live there now gave us permission to shoot a video outside that house and shoot my album cover. Thank you.
No questions asked. They had no issues with that.
Nope.
And when it came to the when it came to the overall scope and scheme, this was all you and its creativity here, or graphic designer, maybe helping with this concept of the artwork, or
Well, I came up with what I wanted the album cover to be. I have a team, I have a photographer, I have a team that can help that come to light. And once I took the pictures, we chose what picture between three that I chose was the one, and that's the one we all chose. And then we sent it to our people that do my album covers, and they'll send it back and forth, and they'll send it back and forth, and we'll change it. And I say, no, I don't like that font on it. I want that to be down here instead of up there. Maybe up here is good. Maybe down here, no, up there look better. You know what I'm saying? We mess with it until we get it exactly how we think it should be. And that's what you got right now.
now what about the release date, June 27th? Was there any significance behind that date?
No significance of June 27th because the original date was supposed to be June 14th. But since Lil Wayne was coming out with his record June 6th or something like that, they said if we moved it to the 27th and not the 14th, that we can list him on the album as a primary artist and all this kind of thing, you know what I mean? So we said, hell yeah, let's go. Much love. Thank you, Wayne.
And we'll talk about him a little bit further in this conversation. But for now, when it comes to this album here, are there any unknown facts or stories in regards to it that's never been publicly mentioned before?
A lot of stories in this album that people have never heard before, by far. A lot of my fans knew my mom had epilepsy, and I visited her in psychiatric wards through um, interviews I've done in the past. But they've never heard these stories in depth. They've never heard the nice one. They've never heard Friday to Sunday, these stories. They've never heard No Rub. They've never heard what I do about me being a booster in my 9th grade year and getting chased by the police and everything. People don't know these stories. They don't know what happened on this I Know Why I Ran Away from Home after that day. You know what I mean? The last song on the album, kind of, well, the last song on the album, and it's a song after that, but it takes place 2 years after I ran away. So, but a lot of people don't know these stories. Nobody knows these stories, as a matter of fact, and that's why I'm so excited that people are listening and digging it.
Now, as far as the length of this album, it's 22 tracks. Why that final figure there? Why not a little bit shorter, maybe even a little longer?
Actually, it's not 22 tracks. You're counting the skits.
I am. That's
All
5
right.
skits on this,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So it's 17 tracks altogether. And what makes this album super personal is that all the skits are every one of my children. You know what I'm saying? My kids are part of this album, and they're having conversations with me about the album within the album. It's wonderful.
Now, let's sidestep on the topic of skits here for a second. Why decide to make those skits their own track? I counted 22, you count 17 actual songs. Tomato, tomato, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
why actually make each of these skits their own tracks? Because there are some recording artists that might put a skit at the end of the track before the next song. Some will do it after the track. They won't list the skit, things of that nature.
I wanted to share with the fan that might not be familiar with my children their names. Donnie Call, Aaliyah Call, Rain Call, Bella Call, Alina Call. So they will be all the way in tune with where I'm going, you know what I mean? Offering my life still, after all this time, my personal life to the fan, you know what I mean? So I wanted their names to be visible for y'all. Does that make sense?
And when it comes to skits, let's take yourself out of the equation. Musically, what do you think has been the best skit of all time on an album or a mixtape or an EP?
The best skit of all time.
Yeah, do you have a favorite skit, if not the best skit? Maybe something you heard previous
crazy.
to this and you were a fan of?
That's crazy, man, because I've been tuned into hip hop since day one. Rap Dirty by Blowfly. You know what I mean? I think some of the best skits came from NWA, though, man. You know, Nah. Yeah, it spawned from NWA, Ice Cube. McDonald's was my spot, tracking them motherfucker for them Nissan trucks, right in the drive-through. Nigga, get your motherfucking food, leaving the core, nigga, get out. Straight jacket. I know it by heart. You
What
remember
is
that, Richie?
what is your opinion on skits? Do you feel like this is lost in music these days? You like skits generally? Obviously, you've already shared the reason for these 5 skits for this particular album. But do you like skits naturally? You don't like them? What's your take on skits?
I think skits, because I'm a movie buff, You know, always been. I think skits create character, man. You know what I'm saying? I think it brings the fan closer into our lives. You know, to hear us, not only the music, but an atmosphere outside of the music. You know what I mean? Or recreating something that happened on a certain day when I almost died in a car wreck. You know what I mean? At the beginning of the Ever Ready, we reenacted the car wreck, how it happened, and we put all the sound effects in it. You know what I mean? And I think to create that kind of thing for the fan, it's more cinematic and give the album a personal feel, man. You know what I mean? So if it's lost, that's their fault. I'm still going. You know what I mean?
Now, as previously mentioned before, I count 22 tracks, you count 17 songs here, but why that particular amount for this one? Why not a little bit less, like 15 or 12, or a little bit more, like 19, 21?
Well, throughout my discography, N9ne always had upwards of 24, 26 songs. You know what I mean? This is indeed my shortest track list. I chose 17 beats from JPZ. I ran away when I was 17. This album is from age 12 to age 17 when I ran away. Perfect number.
And ultimately, before you land on that decision and to tie it with that period in your life, how many tracks did you have to choose from originally for this
I
project?
chose 16 tracks originally, and then the 17th came later. So I never choose 50 tracks and choose 12 out of that. I never done that. When I hear a pulse, because without no pulse, there's no life. I've been knowing that for decades. When I hear the pulse, I claim the pulse, and I purchase it. So nobody else can have this pulse. You know, I heard a pulse way back in the day before Strange Music. My cousin Bubbles had a group, and they had this song called Big Moves, and it was to this beat that was by one of my producers, Icy Rock. And I heard there was big moves, big dudes. I'm like, that beat though. So I pulled my cousin aside. I said, hey man, let me get that beat, man. He said, oh man, we was just messing around, go ahead. That beat turned into This Ring, man, one of my biggest songs. When I heard that pulse, I wanted to jack it. And my cousin gave it to me. You know what I mean? So when I choose a pulse, I don't choose a lot of them. I try not to and not use them. We got some beats that I haven't used that I've chosen in the past, you know what I'm saying, in the you know, the recent past too. But usually when I choose them, I have stories that I want to get off, or I have styles I want to get off, or I got some emotion I want to get off, you know.
And this cousin you're referencing, mother's side of the family or father's side here?
Father side, yes.
Now, as far as the track list, you've already shared that the description of this track list is like a chronological order of stories for you from 12 to 17. But prior to this track list selection, when it comes to track list strategy, was this a track list strategy you've used in the past, going chronologically in sequence of a track list before? Or is this the first time of doing that?
This is the very first time that it's ever made sense to do a track list in chronological order because of the ages. You know what I mean? I've never done that ever. I've done a lot in my discography, but this album is like none other I've ever done. It has one producer all the way through. It has me on all the verses. And it has the album in chronological order when it comes to age and the things that happened when I was 12, when I was 13, 14, when I got my heart broke, you know what I'm saying, 15, when I was working at Fish Captain, 17, you know, when I ran away, you know what I'm saying, 16, when I got burned on No Rub, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that happened at this age, at these ages, that is, and that's why the chronological order made sense on this one and not on any other thing that I've ever done.
Because you are using one producer for this body of work here, do you give that person an executive producer credit? Do you consider this person an executive producer of this album?
Nah,
Okay.
executive producer is always Travis O'Gwen, you know what I'm saying, my partner. Um, but he is the sole producer of this album, you know, and you wouldn't put that. You just give him his credit. All tracks done and completed by Jay Peasy.
Is that the first time you've done that with JPZ?
First time I've ever worked with Jay Peasy, thanks to Black Walt.
Now, when it comes to these 17 here, what's your absolute favorite of them all?
Well, sir, you never can call your babies ugly. And you have multiple babies. Even if people think your baby's ugly, you don't. So my favorite, like if I was to go to a certain track on 5816 Forest, I go to a lot of them, man, because they all feel different. Lola feels wonderful, man. It has beatboxing in it, man, from back in the day, man. But it just has so much energy. But I always frequent the nice one because it's like a cinematic experience on my album. Even though the whole album is a cinematic experience, this one is the movie on this record. You know what I mean? With the sound effects, with the skits within the song, man. I frequent the nice one.
And care to share what that song's about?
The nice one is about me being in high school, me hanging out with my homeboys from the hood, you know what I mean? We all went to school together, so I hung out with the Bloods, you know what I'm sizzling, but, you know, I was always in cahoots with all types of groups in school. Like, I come with the thugs, but I hung out with the nerds, you know what I'm saying? I hung out with the the metalheads, you know what I'm sizzling, you know, the goth girls, everything. So, with that being said, Aaron Yates, myself, was connected to all the groups in school, you know what I'm saying? So, whenever a Caucasian girl would check in the school for the first day or something, somehow she would find my locker and say, "Hey, you're Aaron, right? Yeah. We hear you're the nice one." Now, they used to say that to me back then, but now when I think about it after I wrote it, I'm like, they were saying I was the nice one out of all the niggas I hang out with, you know? And it happened to me a lot. They always called me the nice one in school, you know what I'm saying? The different ethnicities that went to Southwest High School, if they're checking in like mid-semester or something, they would find Aaron Yates and say, "We hear you're the nice one." So I wrote the nice one about a story that happened to me after meeting this one chick that said, "Hey, we hear you're the nice one. You want to kick it sometime, have a skipping party?" Yes. You know, and the story is crazy. And it happened for real. And I almost went to jail.
Now, favorite or not, what's your most honest song on this body of work?
The most honest song on this body of work would probably be No Rub, because nobody wants to rap about having a venereal disease, you know, or how many you had when you were younger. So it's honest as fuck, pun intended, you know what I'm saying? No Rub is telling a few stories about being with females without a condom and then happen to go to the free clinic and get medicine for it, you know? So that's, even though the whole album is super honest, that one, No Rub, so TMI that it's probably the most honest song on the record.
And why be open about that subject matter there? Because there are some that would not disclose that sort of thing, talk about that sort of thing, wouldn't even want that energy on musically as
Well,
part of their work.
well, I think that the youngsters today, just like we heard Go See the Doctor from Kumo D back in the day, or Ice Cube, you know what I'm saying? What song was that? I forgot it. It was an Ice Cube song. It was a sexual awareness song, you know what I'm saying? We haven't had one since. So I thought when I heard this beat that I should do one for people that might need help, but tell it in a scared straight type of way. You know what I mean? I wanted to share it with the world with no shame so I can possibly help the ones coming up.
Now, what about features? There are 3 on this album. What is your favorite feature of them all?
The favorite feature of them all on 5816 Forest. Of course, Wayne is a big one. But me and Kevin Church Johnson with This I Know, such a beautiful, soulful song, man. I think that one got it by far.
And care to share what that song's about as well?
This I Know is a song that takes place on a day where I decided to run away from home at 17. So that's the last song on the album. It talks about leading up to why I ran away from home. My mom married a Muslim. Before he came along, I was a spoiled brat. She got me whatever I needed for talent shows. She got me what she ironed my clothes when I was 11, 12, you know what I'm saying? You know. So when they got married, he's like, you iron your own clothes. He was trying to make me a man. I thought he was trying to be mean to me with the things that he was doing to me over the years, keeping me on punishment when I'm messing up in school for whole summers. You know, I just thought it was really harsh. So it got to a point to where something happened in the house to where I felt like, okay, I'm gonna run away, but the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna tell mom that I'm going to my Aunt Zita's house for Thanksgiving break. And I never came back, you know what I'm saying? And throughout the years when I started maturing, I felt bad that I never came back for my siblings' sake and for my mom and her husband at the time, because what he was doing was trying to make me stronger, more efficient young man and an entrepreneurial way of thinking. I didn't realize that. And at 17, we tend to think we know everything. So I went off on my own to become Tech-9. I did, by the grace of God. It saved my life. But I still found resolve with my stepfather within these songs, man, you know.
And what about this feature here? How did that come about?
The what?
The feature. How did that come about, this feature with you and Kevin?
With me in church?
Yes.
We were on the Falling in Reverse tour last year on the tour bus, and we were going through some of the JPZ beats, the newer ones he sent. This I Know came on. He's like, man, that feels so good to me, man. It feels like if I don't know anything, I know music. I said, I feel the same way. I said, your family tell you to get a job, a real job, and you know, you'll never make it coming from Kansas City and just saying this is a hobby. You know what I'm saying? You can have a hobby, but you need to get a real job, and this ain't a real job, you know. And he said, for real, man, this I know for sure, you know. I'm like, yeah, this I know. He's like, and he just started singing, this I know. And I said, yeah, man, because they treat you like you don't know what you're doing. And he started tearing up, man, and we just started coming up with the hook, man. And next thing you know, we were in St. Louis on tour, on the Falling in Reverse tour during the day, recording the song, This I Know. And now it's out, banging. The video's going through the roof.
And was that your first time collaborating with him?
No, that was not my first time collaborating with my drummer, no. We've done songs in the past on Strange Music, but this is the biggest by far.
And what about Kevin as well?
That's what I'm talking about, Kevin.
Oh.
Kevin, This I Know,
me.
yeah.
Pardon the brain
that's my
fog
drummer.
there.
Kevin Church Johnson is an artist, but he's my drummer on tour. You know,
Now, when it comes to him, are there any unreleased songs between you two?
there are unreleased ideas that he's presented to me that I haven't gotten to yet, and I know we're gonna keep going. Yes.
Now, was there a thought on, well, you've answered, well, no, I will ask you this. Okay, when you got this idea from
Black Walt.
yes, Black Walt there, in the very beginning, his idea was you on all verses, no features, and you thought that was,
Boring as fuck.
yes.
Yes.
You ended up having Lil Wayne on this. You ended up having two other features on this as well. Why even go that step far to have those features? Why not save those for another time? Or
Because we were talking about no features on the verses, all verses by Tech9ne. So the rule was you can have people do the hooks, but we want you through all the verses.
got it. Was there a thought on maybe just having you strictly on all the hooks instead of having these three features?
No, because I love bringing other people into the fold in my origin story and telling them the story and see where they will go with it. With Yoda and Wayne, I didn't have to tell him nothing. He knew it's 4 hooks. So if he did one hook and flew it, it would be repetitious. I didn't even have to tell him. He did variations of the hook every time he done a hook. Total pro. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Church Johnson, when I was telling him about the story about my stepfather and we came up with This I Know, that's why he got so emotional and came up with This I Know. So sharing my story with artists that I felt would fit on this record, like Chemology on What I Do, about me being a booster, or this girl teaching me how to steal clothes, you know, that story. To be able to share that with the artists that I felt like were elite enough to do this for me on my origin story, it was such a wonderful time, you know what I'm saying? Expressing it to other people and getting those stories out, you know what I mean? All verses by me though.
And pardon the brain fog here, but when it comes to your collection of albums, has there ever been an album, no features whatsoever, all hooks, all verses by you solely?
Never ever has there ever been a record like 5816/4s with all verses by me, all everything by me. Never, not once until now.
Just for clarification. Now, winding down the questions here about this project, can you give the audience 5 reasons to listen to it?
5 reasons to listen to 5816/4s. 1, it is Tech9ne, the #1 independent rapper in the world. 2, the album is super personal. 3, it embodies the art of storytelling, and that's an element of hip hop. You know what I mean? 4, all beats are by Jay Peasy. They're to describe the beats, in my opinion, it feels like the 90s, but updated to 2025. So we take you back and still keep you here. 5, I'm gonna be performing these songs on my upcoming tours. So you have to learn them. You have to learn J6's, oh na na, oh na na, oh na 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 na. So you can sing it with me. You gotta learn This I Know so you can sing it with me. You gotta learn Black Wall Street. You gotta learn these songs. All those 5 make a mighty blow. Bow.
And sidestepping on the subject of tours, care to share the tours you will be performing these songs on this year?
The first tour coming up early August will be God is a Weapon Tour, Falling in Reverse, Slaughter to Prevail, Wage War, and other metal bands, Tech9ne. Immediately after that tour, I hop right on the Thuggish Ruggish Mafia Tour with Bone Thugs and Harmony, with 3-6 Mafia, DJ Quick, and Tech-9. Oh, and somewhere in there, Tech-9 is coming back to the Gathering of the Juggalos, Legends, and other shows popping up every once in a while. So you'll see Tech-9 doing some of these songs.
Now, I want to hone in on the Thuggish Ruggish Mafia tour. How did you even become a part of that lineup there? How does that work?
You know, I get a phone call from my partner and say, hey, man, 3-6 Mafia and Bone want you to go on tour with them. What? That's crazy. Live Nation is buying 23, 22 shows. What? That's crazy. It's the promoter, Bobby D. What? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So to have people thinking about me or saying, hey, I think Tech-9 will be a good addition to this tour, warms my heart. Thank you for thinking about me, brothers.
Now, you've had songs in the past with members of Bone Thugs,
Yes.
songs with 3-6 Mafia.
Yes.
But does that surprise you when you got that call for this idea of this tour of them together? Because publicly, the last time people saw these two groups together was on a Versus platform,
And they fought.
They got into it. So when you got wind of this tour, hey, Thuggish, Ruggish, Bone Thugs and 3-6 Mafia, what did you think when you just heard the idea?
Well, because we got songs that were so long ago, it came out of nowhere to me. But then I wondered, damn, how's that gonna happen when they were throwing stuff at each other on the verses? But it makes people wanna see it even more. So that made me say yes as well, you know what I mean? That was one of the factors that I said, all the members of Bone gonna be there, Live Nation, 3-6 Mafia, they're all gonna be there together, Tech-9, that's powerful. And they added DJ Quick.
Now, I also do want to ask you this when it comes to performing. I can imagine at your concerts, you have in-ears on, you're rapping live over instrumental, whether it's a band playing behind you or a DJ.
It's a band.
But what is your opinion on those who are rapping on top of their vocals and instrumental instead at their ticketed venues?
There's levels to this shit. You see major artists that are on BT rapping over their lyrics. Some fans don't care. You know this because at Rolling Loud, most of the people don't say the lyrics and the fans are going bonkers. That means there's levels to this shit. Now, when it comes to Tech-9, I'm doing it like I'm doing it for TV. So the main vocal is me. No matter how intricate, no matter how forceful, I have to spit that out. And if I stumble, you're gonna hear it. I'm not knocking anybody that's at the top and rapping over their vocals, but some people don't like it, and some people don't mind it. But when you come to see me, you're gonna get the real thing. Sorry and shit.
Now, speaking on that note here, were you always like that from the jump, or was there maybe an era of you, even in your humble beginnings, where you did rap over vocals? So, for example, some of these artists that are doing this, because the lack of A&Rs in the record industry today, the lack of coaching, the microwave...
Straight from the street to the...
Yes. One can understand that this is happening because this could be, for an analogy purpose, like training wheels. You got your training wheels on, you're learning how to do this on the fly, on the spot. You might not even be practicing. You might really, literally be going straight to the stage.
Right.
So one can understand, hey, there's a incubation rate, incubation level, you know, that sort of thing to get honed in on.
I've always been the main vocal. I've always been the main vocal. I usually have dudes up there with me that can help me with my lyrics. Chris Calico, Cut Calhoun, Grant Rice. I had 3 guys up there. Now it's me by myself. You know what I'm sizzling? All I have are overdubs here and there. I am the middle main vocal, no matter what, and I've always been the middle main vocal. I can't remember a time because the way they taught us, the way Icy Rock taught us is like, don't rap over your vocals, it's whack. And people back in the day really didn't like it. Now it's a difference, and the youngins, they don't care. They just want to see you there. They're happy that you're there. Sometimes I used to say, man, they just happy I'm here, so I don't have to say all the lyrics. Yes, I do, because the technicians know all the lyrics, and if you stumble or say the wrong word, they will know. So the pressure's on, man. People probably don't want that pressure. I'm brave, though. You know what I mean? I did a show last Saturday in Kansas City. I headlined Boulevardia in my hometown, and I did Black Wall Street, This I Know, J6's, and Ali Ali Oxenfree from X-Rated's album for the first time live. Brave, me, main vocal. Some of those songs don't have overdubs, so I gotta say the whole thing. You know what I mean? Brave, nervous, but brave.
And overdubs, for some of those in the audience that might be used to some other phrases, that's like a TV track?
An overdub is when you're in there recording, you record your main vocal, then you go, after your main vocal is down, you go back in, and certain words you'll say, you'll double and triple. Just certain words. Those are the overdubs. You keep those. Bring them down a little bit though, you know what I'm saying, in the main show, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would do. And you be that main vocal. That main vocal gotta come out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, for instance, Kendrick will have wop, 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 wop. He don't have to say it because the whole crowd is gonna say it. But on his track, you'll hear wop, 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 dot, fuck him up, wop, 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 wop. And he'll say, I'm gonna do my stuff, you know? That's on his overdubs. Perfect example.
And when it comes to a sidestep here, you just mentioned a question, well, part of a question I was going to ask, which was when it comes to your previous installments, okay? Your previous installments of your music, are there any plans for additional installments? So let me give you an example. Strangulation Volume 2.
Yes.
Are there any plans for a Volume 3?
Well, we have new artists now, so I would imagine so. You know, we have new artists now. So we just did one called Cosm, Class of Strange Music, where we featured our artist, our new artist, with artists outside of Strange as well, you know what I mean? So Strangulation could return because we have new artists. We haven't thought about it though.
And then there's two other series I wanted to also ask you if there's any additional installments. Don't know if you would include this as a series or not. Calm Before the Storm and The Storm.
Well,
do you feel like that's a series in it of itself in your collection? And if so, could there be a third installment to that?
Well, the only reason I did, okay, let me take it back. My first LP before Strange Music on Midwest Side Records was called The Calm Before the Storm. Decades passed. That was the calm. So I said, I'm gonna finally do the storm. After that's over, because that was the calm. Where'd the storm come in, Tech? All the way up here, we're gonna do the storm. And that's it.
And one last one here. You had Enter Fear, you had More Fear, you had Fear Exodus. Did you consider that a series of itself, and any plans for any more installments past that?
Well,
if so.
As I write my life, entering fear, entering more fear, until in your real life that you want to exit all fears. That's what I did. I was working on myself. So once I got to Fear Exodus, all my fears, all my superstitions, I cut out of my life. So after Fear Exodus came Bliss. It's a whole thing. I'm blissful now. So all that is a series for real. Interfere, More Fear, Fear Exodus, Bliss.
And are there any other series in your catalog that, on face value, may not
Hold
be
on. I'm wrong. Interfere, More Fear, Fear Exodus, and when you are fearless in a world ran by fearmongers, people think that you're crazy. So I came with asinine. So after everybody thought I was crazy for kicking all my fear out, I entered bliss. Like, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. So that's a whole series right there.
Okay, so a 5-parter.
Yeah, man.
But no plans for more in that series.
Nah, not after
If you will.
5816 Forest came. It took it all the way back. You know what I mean? I was up here, class of strange music, after all that, then went all the way back to the beginning.
Well, when it comes to any of your other individual projects in your vast catalog, are there plans for any second installments to ones that weren't named here?
They keep on asking me about Vintage Tech, Volume 2 or something. But we've used all the vintage songs. You know what I mean? So I don't know how I can create that unless we start putting out all songs that I felt like couldn't make the albums, and we got a lot of those, you know, but it's funny because this I know is the last song on 5816 Forest, but after the strange music tag, usually the album's over, a song comes on called J6's. It takes place 2 years after I ran away. And I put it there just in case I wanted to keep going and telling the N9ne story after I became N9ne, after running away, you know what I'm saying? So I won to open up for EPMD at Kemper Arena. This fell on my graduation day, so rap was meant for the N9ne, you know? So the album actually ends with J6's 2 years after I ran away from 5816. Just in case, since I went all the way back, that I want to start telling the stories from there too. You know what I'm saying? I can take off from when I won the contest on through 93, signing with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, all the stories that happened with that, you know what I'm saying? And then signing with Quincy Jones in 97. I could do it, not sure if I want to, but I set it up so just in case I want to keep going.
And my last topic for you here. Lil Wayne is a feature on this project, 5816 Force, but sidestepping with Wayne here, have you had the opportunity to listen to the Carter 6 yet?
I have not had time to listen to Carter 6. The day it came out, I sat on my couch, put my headphones on, listened to the intro that was just beautiful music, and then I heard his verse on the second song, and I smiled, and my wife came in and like, I need you to hold the baby down for me. I got to give her amoxicillin because she was sick. I haven't got back to it yet, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to leave right after that, start my promotional run, you know what I'm saying? My press run. So I will though, but I haven't listened to the Carter 6 yet. I hear people talking crazy, but I'm an artist myself, and I understand expression, and I understand artistic expression. And I'm not looking for anything specific like everybody else.